Tension as protesters burn banks over Naira scarcity in Ogun, southwest Nigeria. Not with small thing, no. Today again, serious protest broke out of Ogun State, and right now they are burning banks. I think they've burnt about 2 banks in Ogun State as of today, even though government has deployed soldiers to also go and manage that demonstration. But again, it's still over the Naira scarcity across the country. Okay, unfortunately, the government is not able to deal with people that are holding even the new Naira notes, and it looks like they know some of them, but because they are their colleagues, their political bigwigs, they can't go after them. That is how bad it is. With the amount of money that CBN has printed, if they allowed that amount of money to go freely circulated across the country, there won't be this kind of problem. But I tell you, some banks actually probably have connived with some of the politicians and are hiding these new currencies awaiting this election. It's going to be a very bad one for some of them. But generally, the hardship is still on. First scarcity with no currency in circulation. Nigeria is still like a country on top of gunpowder. Riots still going up and on and on. Okay. The scarcity of the new Naira note took another dimension in Sagamu, about 50 kilometers from Ogun State capital, Abeokuta, on Monday, that which is today, as a violent protest erupted in the town. That is Sagamu in Ogun State. Some protesters suspected to be hoodlums were reported to have attacked 3 commercial banks during a protest against the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria's Naira redesign program on Monday morning. Okay, pictures and videos shared on social media shows the protesters burnt tires and other materials on the road. They also show burning buildings and stranded commuters as the protesters blocked the Akarigbo-Sabo road and burnt tires. Some of the residents, however, blamed the governor of the state, Dapo Abiodun, for the unrest. Last week, Governor Abiodun insisted that the old 500 and 1,000 Naira notes would remain legal tender in the state, threatening to sanction commercial banks and business outlets rejecting the old notes. Okay, the governor caused this with his inciting statements against the bank. The people I pity most are Sagamu people, because how many banks, okay, did the whole of the Sagamu before? They will now go to Lagos to withdraw. Now then go suffer. Banks are insured. Let them keep destroying banks, a Twitter user said. Last year, the Central Bank of Nigeria announced that it will redesign 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes, saying old notes should be swapped for new notes by January 31st. Following several appeals made by Nigerians, the deadline was moved to February 10th. However, a Supreme Court ruling suspended the February 10th deadline. A week after, the Supreme Court ordered the Nigerian government to allow the continued use of old 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes. President Muhammadu Buhari countered that order. In his national broadcast last Thursday, Buhari announced that the old 500 and 1,000 Naira notes had ceased to be legal tender, but extended the deadline for 200 Naira notes to April 10th. But some states, including Kaduna, Ogun, and Kano, announced that the old notes would still be considered legal tender in their domain based on the Supreme Court ruling. The state government also threatened to sanction any bank that rejects the old notes until the Apex Court says otherwise. So that is the situation that happened at Sagamu today. The protest continued, and that was in Sagamu. Burnt almost 3 banks. Now the question is, how many banks did there before? Okay, the one said that they burn up. People will now be going to Lagos to go and do transactions, because the nearest place will be Lagos. That is going through Sagamu Road into Ikorodu, and then go and do transaction and come back. Okay, so what they are trying to say here is that it's the governor that caused the problem, because the governor said, alongside the Kano state and the Kaduna state governors, said both the 500 and 1,000 Naira note remains legal tender across their states, and people should be spending them, and then tried to sanction or say that any commercial bank that is rejecting the old Naira note will be sanctioned and will be dealt with. Even individuals and business outlets that are rejecting the old Naira note, especially 500 and 1,000, will be dealt with. Okay, but unfortunately now, the banks cannot issue it. People are not even accepting that old notes anymore, because the question is not trying at the state level to force people to accept it. Will you be able to change it at any CBN outlet, even after the election? Because CBN is not going to give you a chance to come and exchange it. So it's not enough to force people to say they must accept the old Naira note. Okay, I'm sure this Dr. Abiodun's statement in the state has thrown confusion into the minds of people and has led to this riot today at Ogun State, at Sagamu. Okay, and they burnt tires, they burnt several things on the what they call it, Sabo Road in Sagamu, and three statement coming that about three banks have been burnt down. So this now is, I wonder what Dr. Abiodun is going to do now. So is he going to rebuild those banks, or is he going to go and look for those protesters and go and arrest them? Which is going to start with? First of all, the banks are insured. For that is what the writer is saying here. And the banks are insured. So insurance will have to pay. The question is, will the insurance be able to pay for those monies? I think they should be able to pay. But the fact remains that the banks that have been burnt down are insured. And whatever is inside the bank are also insured. And so there's no loss. Rather, people that have job will be asked to go home. People will lose their job. And then people will continue to suffer back at home. Okay? The bank probably will close from Sagamu for now and till further notice. And so people, the masses will continue to suffer, because even after the election, it means that they will have to go to Lagos to do all their transactions. So meaning there wasn't any need for this kind of riot. But unfortunately, it has taken place, and there's nothing anyone can do anything about it again. The federal government, the state government, the APC governors, the CBN, the Supreme Court, everybody is still going back and forth, throwing confusion here and there. Okay? We understand how Supreme Court said that, that deadline of February 10 should be stopped. Okay? And those old notes continue to be used until cases in the court are cleared. Unfortunately, Bùｒñ came out and countered that ruling in his national broadcast. Okay, and again, Kaduna State Governor came out and made a broadcast to counter the president's national broadcast, and that has actually been termed treason. Okay, that if not for immunity, El-Rufai should be arrested and be jailed by now. So with all of these government agencies, with the federal government themselves going back and forth, the trouble still there. Okay, but I tell you that a lot of people are trying to manage themselves until after election, then everything will come to normalcy. Okay, what they are trying to do again is vote buying, but then people are suffering. How do we strike the balance? Federal government thought they have been able to strike the balance by allowing 200 Naira notes, the old ones, to still be in circulation till April 10th, which is about 2 months from now. Okay, which is about 2 months or 1.5 months from now. That is what we see. So does that actually resemble striking a balance between the suffering of the people and putting control on vote buying tendencies by politicians? That is yet to be properly ascertained or verified. So thank you for listening. And this is what is happening in Sagamu. I think it's under control now. And let's have your comment as well for sharing.